Welcome to Mystery Stamping on November 30th, 2023. We are here for another day of trying to figure out what card we're going to make and all of the bits and pieces that we're going to need for that. And so I'm Lisa Fulford, your creative coach, and we will get started with our bits. So I'm going to move that over. I'm going to use the Beary Cute stamp set and paper. And so let's bring all that in. All right. So for our card base, I have an 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4.25. So here's my 5.5 by 8.5. There's my 4.25 score line. And I turn my main lights off, and I just have this light right here, my ring light, and then the window lights. So I'm hoping maybe it won't roll as much. It does something to the digital, the LEDs do. So I'm hoping this helps. I think you can actually see the score line a little better with it not being so bright. And then we have some cardstock here. I can get a hold of that. Oops, I dropped it on the floor. All right, so for our cardstock, this is Balmy Blue, so I'm using Night of Navy because it's going to coordinate with the DSP from the Beary Cute paper. And so I have a 1 7/8 by 4 1/8 piece of Night of Navy. And then I have a piece that is 4 1/8 by 1 3/8. And then a piece that is 2 3/8 by 7/8. And they're all of the Night of Navy. I have like a circle or a label, and this is from the Stylish Stitch Shapes. So I have that. For our basic white, I have this piece that's 5 1/4 by 4 for my inside, which this is light enough. If you don't want to put an inside piece, if you've got a light card base, you don't have to. But sometimes it kind of like steps it up just a little bit, even though you're not really doing too much. It'll step it up by adding dimension to the inside. And then I have a deckled circle or a next step down stitch circle, but I don't know which I want to use because I haven't put one of these completely together yet. So this is on the fly. And that piece that is the 4 by 2.5, I don't know if I had that for like a sentiment, because at the moment I'm not certain if we need that, but if you've got it, I'm certain that you could make that work. But I'm thinking I left it on from a previous mystery and maybe just overlooked it when I was looking through my paper. But if I did, I'm sorry about that. It happens once in a while. I'm not perfect by no means. So we'll go on down to the designer series paper. And when I'm putting it together, I may think, yep, I needed that. But for right now, I'm omitting that. So designer series paper. And I put pattern 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I did put, landscape, portrait, portrait. That is for if you have a directional piece of DSP. Some of mine are, some of mine are not. So here are my pieces. So I have a 4" by 1 1/4 in landscape. And I'm using the trees, and on the back is like one of the sceneries. But I'm using the trees for that. And then my second one is a 3/4" by 2 1/4. And so I have this piece here, and it's just got some green to it. It's on the back of the presents if you've got that paper. And then the third pattern is 4" by 1 3/4. And this one's a portrait one. And I've got the trees and there's a little polar bears, there. This will probably get covered up because it's just his little hiney there. And then our fourth pattern is 4" by 5 1/4. And I chose the snowflakes. So I'm sticking with all the same pattern or paper pack so that they coordinate. I could use this other side also. And sorry if my the image is flickering. I do not know what that is. I haven't figured out how to make that stop, so I'm sorry if that's doing that. And then I also have it says die cut piece or embellishments for your card. And so I just cut this piece out. And because this is the bear that coordinates with our punch, I just cut that out and then I will punch that out here momentarily. So I'm going to set my punch there. And then you can, like if you didn't want to use DSP, you could, stamp a soft image for a background image. I mean, you can change this up. These are just suggestions on, my idea of what I'm making, and then you can do with it what you want. So I haven't decided like my sentiment. So like I said, this may be a piece that I wanted for the sentiment. I did create these, the designs and things from, a good while ago. So sometimes I just can't remember what I had intended. So I do that for a reason. One of my reasons is that you all are having to trying to create cards with the mystery stamping. And so you have no idea what you're creating. And so, it's hard to come up with, what papers you want to put together and what stamps you want to use because you don't know what you're making. And so I understand that that can be a challenge. So sometimes I challenge myself rather than me just knowing what card I'm going to make and then telling you guys what. I first come up with the card and then I will create a little template, and I won't show the front of my template yet, but then on the back, I write like what day it's going to be and then what my measurements and things are. And then on the other side of it, I've tried to create it to see if it'll work out how I think it will, and then go from there. But I don't have any, it's just plain, all the same color paper, so you can't get that same effect. But so I do like to challenge myself as well. So I'm challenging all of you, but I want to also challenge myself. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a scrap of white similar to maybe that size, just in case I will need it. On that one, I said we would omit. So I'm just grabbing a scrap. So that might be my sentiment. I don't know until we get going. So, and then my ink of choice is always the Tombow multi-liquid glue, the green glue. You can use whatever you want. I'm not putting ribbon on my card, but you're always welcome to add ribbon and, embellishments and all that type of thing. So, and I do have my dimensionals because I'm certain I like dimensionals, so I'll put those out. So we'll get started on putting our card together. And like I said, I don't know which one of these I want to use. I have a decal and a stitch, so I will choose that at the time that when we're using that. So we'll get started, and I'll move this out of my way. All right, so get some of these things. I have a hard time picking things up. So set that up there. So my first thing is always either, if you didn't score it, you want to fold it in half and burnish. And if you did score it, then just burnish that score line. I don't know what I've done with my bone folders, so here's a little tip. Can't find your bone folder and you've got green glue, start in the middle and work your way, and that'll work for a bone folder. To some degree, it still pops up just a little bit. Okay, so there we go. That's our card base. And I'm going to add my pieces as much as I can before I do all my stamping. So I'm going to add my glue. Corners. Do the corners first. And then just add the little bits. Doesn't take a lot of glue to hold that, but you do want your corners secure. And a lot of times mine would come up on the very tip of the corner, and somebody suggested you do the glue where you go into the point. And I'm like, why did I not think of that? There we go. All right, so there's our card base. And now we're going to work on our layers. I'm going to bring in my layers. And then I'm going to bring in my other layers. And then just start adding them together. Pardon me. I could use either side because they're both going in the same direction, but I'm going to use this side. Center that on there. It's a small little border. And then same here. So we're just layering up our DSP onto our base layers that are, for those sizes. Okay. So now that we have that, we will work back on our base again. So the first thing we want to put down is this piece, the one that's at 4 inches, but it's the width of, let's see, 1 7/8. I guess it's 4 1/8, not 4 inches, 4 1/8 by 1 7/8. The DSP was the 4-inch. And then I want to place it up here and kind of do the same border at the top and the side. Like that. The next thing that I want to add is the smaller piece that's at, let's see, 7/8 by 2 3/8. Remember, these are directional if your paper has directional imagery. So I'll come in and I want to place that. I want to leave, about 1/8 inch of your DSP, 1/4 inch of it all showing there. Just place that there. And then our next piece that is 1 3/8 by 4 1/8. You're going to come down and you want to just barely cover this little edge here. And it's going to go, you want to center it from side to side. I'm going to hold that because I'm going over a couple different layers here. You could pop it up if you wanted. I've decided not to. All right, so I'm going to work on my little polar bear here. I'm just trying to line him up with a border all the way around. Kind of like that, where you can see blue all the way around him. And then I'll punch. And then I've got this little guy here, and I might use him also. So now I've got my stitch circle. And let's see if I can increase my lighting. The brightness maybe. Might be better. I don't know. So I think I'm going to bring it in down here. And I'm going to use my polar bear. But I'm trying to decide if I want my polar bear here and put a greeting there. That won't work. It might. And I could put a greeting across here. Or I could do a smaller stitch circle. Put my polar bear and then use this for a sentiment. But I think I'm going to go with this deckled. And whoops, just dropped the snowflake out of here. Oh, there it is. All right, so I have a snowflake, but I don't know if I'm going to use it, but I'll set it right there. I need to decide if I want like warm winter wishes, Merry Christmas, and then I grab the other sentiment. But I want to look and see if I put my warm winter wishes. I think I can make that work. So then the Merry Christmas, it wouldn't fit unless I did Merry and Christmas. I think I'm going to do warm winter wishes. And he has green in his sweater. He also has some red, but I'm mainly doing this as blue and the Night of Navy and the Bashful Blue, or Balmy Blue, sorry. And then I've got green, but I think I'm going to use green for my sentiment. I could use black. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to stamp it at the top. scrap piece in. Looks kind of yucky. But I want to, whenever you haven't used a stamp, you want to try it out a few times. There, so it's getting better. Because there's a film, especially on the photopolymer, you need to get worn off. Okay. Whoops, didn't mean to get my head in the camera if I did. Warm, I guess it's warm wishes, not warm winter wishes. I just hold it for a few moments, make certain it adheres well. Looks pretty good. Get that out of the way. Close this ink. And the ink that I used was Mossy Meadow. I don't know if it's Old Olive or Mossy Meadow in the cardstock or the paper or not, but I used Mossy Meadow. Looks like I need to re-ink it a little bit. All right, so we're gonna just barely have that navy outline just to give a little contrast. Then I'll bring in the Stampin' Dimensionals. And usually my mystery cards, pardon me, are very simplistic. But every now and then we do a stepped up one, and this one I think is a little more stepped up because there's more bits and pieces to it. But I don't think it, like if you wanted to make several of these for like your Christmas cards, I think you could do that quite well. So I think I'm going to come out a little bit and put that down. And then our polar bear. I'll add him there, and I'm going to do dimensionals, I believe, on the back of him as well. Whoops, that's just the backing. For whatever reason, I keep pulling the backings off before I pull the it kind of looks like he's walking over to the tree. All right, so I'm finished with those. So now we'll work on this inside. This is my bit for the inside, and I'm going to do Christmas is Better Together. I'm going to bring in that scrap paper again, just because this one's not been used, so you kind of want that film removed. I'll bring it down a little bit. Depending on where you put your sentiment, depends on how much room you have to write your greeting. If you're someone who likes to, write a lot, several paragraphs or whatever, put it closer to the top. If you're someone that just wants to put, hope your Christmas is, wonderful from the Fulfords, then you put it a little closer to the bottom. It looks like I maybe got that little crooked, but hey, it's homemade, so it doesn't matter. And so we got this little guy. And I'm trying to decide if I want a fussy cutting or I want to pop him out some way, but I think just fussy cut real quick, like not like super precise or anything. I'm moving my paper, not my scissors so much. And you want to visualize a little border and try not to get too close. If you have a border, things aren't as noticeable if you are a little bit off on how you're cutting it out. So put him down here in this little corner. I think I'm going to grab my balmy blue ink and this little snowflake, and I don't have a small block here, so let's go put it on the corner. There we go. Okay, so ink it up. Just some random snowflakes. There we go. Ah, didn't get that one all the way. Let's see if I can. Well, I lined that up pretty well. There are first for everything. So that will be our center, or inside, I mean. Just added it to the top because when it's on the inside, you don't have to put the full panel. If you get a greeting card at the store, a lot of times, if it has an inside panel, it's only attached at the top. Check it out sometime. All right, so there is our card. So our mystery has been solved. And I know this one had a few extra pieces, but I think it turned out really cute. And like I said, I was, going along with it, just, trying to figure out what I had planned in my head. And so I just tried my best. And this is what I came up with. Warm wishes. And so I have this one. I just did not put a sentiment on. But I do have some pieces again. And I have another little guy here. And so we'll punch this out. And okay, so I'm not going to be able to put this piece in my punch because there's nothing to hold on to. So a little tip for that is you grab a Post-it note and you stick it to, part of the bear. And then you have something to hold on to. So just slide this down in and then line it up the best that I can. A little pressure and you can look at it better, and yep, that looks pretty good. And then punch that out. And so there's a very small amount of the Post-it note stuck to the back of it. And you can leave it on there, but I don't want to unless I have to. There we go. I'm going to go ahead with that warm Warm Wishes. I'm gonna go ahead with the green again. I think it pulls out some of the other green. Because everything has green in it but the base layer, so I just stuck my thumb in the green. So, Warm Wishes. And then I think I'm going to put a few snowflakes on just that circle. All right. So I want my dimensionals. Oops. Okay, so I'll bring this up here and add it. Let's put glue. I'm going to try to get my words as straight as I can. So we'll do that. Dimensionals on the back of him. Put that there. Now this piece of paper, I'll put my Merry Christmas down and pick it up. And there's red here and in this scarf, so I think I'm gonna grab my red. I think I'm gonna do Cherry Cobbler. And that Merry Christmas. And then fussy cut this out. I'm not real precise with each letter. I just kind of like do some zigzagging and stuff, especially when it's like in cursive like this. You want to try to keep the border about the same. When the paper gets in my way, I'd like to trim it off. Just makes it easier to maneuver when you don't have it all piling up in the palm of your hand. Today's a very windy day. I don't know if you can hear the blustery sound out there or not. I have some workers that were out working along the road, and they did leave and go to lunch. So that's nice because I don't have all that noise of all the machinery. A lot of times my mic will block a lot of it out, but not always. So there. So I just kind of cut that out. I think I'm going to try to maybe put that up there. And see if my mini glue or mini dimensionals will work or not. Wonder if I can put a full size on that. And then I put that partial one there on the end. I had an ampersand, that'd be nice to put right in there. I may have to look and see what I have in some of my other stamp sets. But if not, that'll work. I think they understand what it is that I'm trying to convey. So I just kind of like step this up a little bit by adding some snowflakes and then the Merry Christmas fussy cut it out. And so you could do, add them, like I said, embellishments, or you could add a ribbon. You could tie a ribbon, like put a bow up here or whatever. But this is my version of the card that I had for our mystery stamp. So today we have solved the mystery of our card, and I hope that you will enjoy making some of these. I know that maybe you would make like 50 of these, but to make some special cards for some special people, sometimes, put a little extra effort into it. And